So the second model is here from the new reimagined SQUATS. Here we have a Leagues of Votann Hover Trike called the Hernkyn Pioneer. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we've been talking about the Warhammer 40k previews on Warhammer Fest, and we knew that at least something was going to be coming for the SQUATS/Leagues of Votann. My initial guess would be that it would have been the rest of those Hearthkin Warrior infantry squads, though I guess there's at least a small chance we might see that on Friday in a kill team release. But otherwise my second guess might be some sort of bike or trike type thing, and it does appear that, like the Space Marines, the squads have turned their back on wheels where possible, and their bike's going to be a hover one. So the glimpse of this new unit is going to be called a Hernkyn Pioneer. Apparently kin is what they call themselves, and kin looks like it's going to be a common theme across quite a lot of units. We've already seen the Hearthkin, and the model that we've got is a chunky curved outrider pike held aloft on a trio of grav engines. As they said on the stream, the technology does at least bear some resemblance to Imperial stuff. In particular, things like the lights and things look quite similar to ones on Rhinos and Imperial vehicles, and a fair few of the armour plates and things maybe look a little bit similar to the Castellan robots for the Abmech. Apparently the look that they're trying to go for is ancient technology that's gone different ways a long time in humanity's distant past. Apparently the SQUATS and Leagues of Votann type designs are going to be based on standard template constructs from a while back, a lot of which is going to be arguably superior to the Imperium's more decaying technology. Weapons-wise, the bike is armed with a forward-facing cannon, as well as a bolt weapon that the driver's armed with. The driver is looking very biker with some goggles on there, and a great big swanky looking greatcoat. It's also fairly loaded up with a decent amount of luggage all over it. There's a sheath for the driver's gun, what looks like a bedroll maybe out the front by the headlight, and that looks like it might be an entrenching tool and a whole bunch of other gubbins at the back. Supposedly they're trying to make these out as a very independent fighting force, one that's used to operating far away from enemy lines. On the Warhammer community page, I thought it was quite fun that they posted a comparison to the unit that was essentially updating. You can see some similarities between this and the small and rather cute looking squat trike on the left. It's kind of interesting to see a Rogue Trader era model that's kind of been skipped over a generation. Some kits like standard Space Marines have gone through multiple different iterations to get us up to Primaris Marines today. I kind of half feel that if squats had survived and not been canned, they would likely have some sort of model that's halfway in between this and the new Grav Trike. But of course, because they did go away, you basically jump the shark right from Rogue Trader era all the way up to modern 40k. I like the way that the little beardy guy in this photo isn't even bothering to steer the bike, very much a look-no-hands approach to driving a motorcycle. Otherwise, they've given us a few little hints and teasers about the unit in general. They're not just going to be standalone bikers, they are going to be coming in a unit, pretty much certain to be coming in a unit of 3 I suspect. They do look like fairly big chunky bikes, kind of similar to the Space Marine Outrider, at least judging by the base. The weapons that they're armed with are a Magna Coil autocannon at the front and a bolt shotgun in the rider's hand. If we're talking autocannons, then it seems almost certain to be a strength 7 weapon with damage 2, probably more shots than the standard 2-shot autocannon. I think there's every chance we'd either be getting 3 shots or AP-1 better. Having a bolt shotgun's also an interesting idea. It does look kind of weirdly similar to intercessor bolt rifles in a way, but with a revolving magazine. It kind of looks like they're going for a similar sort of approach to those new Eldar Shroud Runner jet bikes. Very independent units focus a lot more on movement and close range shooting, though probably aren't going to be all that much in melee. Finally, it does appear that not every single squat warrior will be going into battle porting a beard, as the girl riding the bike is apparently a female squat. It looks like they'll be joining the ranks of the Xenos races where the entire race goes to war, not just one gender out of them. Other than lacking a beard though, I can't say I'd necessarily be able to tell all that well myself. So now we have 2 different units for the squats. It kind of begs the question where we might go next from here with the previews. Games Workshop has confirmed that squats will be coming as its own full faction to 40k, so that means that there will be a codex, and the way that they release things these days, I'd be absolutely amazed if they didn't launch it with a launch box with a whole lot of miniatures that you can get before they get released in full. It really does feel like they're going for the long, slow, drawn-out preview approach to this one. Maybe kind of similar to how they redid the Sisters of Battle and made quite a big thing about teasing that over the course of many months. And my guess will be that we won't see a squat launch box for at least 3 months, and maybe even significantly more than that. In things that we need to see, we'll hopefully be getting the rest of those Hearthkin Warriors at some point, which I do wonder whether or not they might release them as a kill team. That could potentially be an interesting way to get them into main 40k, before even the rest of the faction gets unleashed. Maybe just a small part of me hopes that they might be revealed on the Warhammer Fest Kill Team preview on Friday, though to be honest I wouldn't exactly hold my breath for that might be a bit of a pipe dream. Otherwise, thinking about how Games Workshop likes to release factions in 40k, I think perhaps you can take some inspiration for some of the more recent faction releases, like say Admech and Genestealer Cult, who've been gradually building up over the past few years. I've got no doubt that we'll have multiple character choices, probably some sort of generic lord, and my guess is that we'll get at least one psyker and tech specialist, a tech specialist as it kind of fits in with their lore, being very focused on their STC constructs and things like that, and having engineer lords in their background, and then a psyker because the squats were previously known to have ancestor lords, and I feel that with the psychic phase being a fairly intrinsic part of 40k, in general I think Games Workshop would prefer to release more races that do have access to psykers, particularly as we already have a fair few that notably don't, like say the Necrons and the Tau. I have a feeling that we'll get at least one vehicle unit at the main codex drop, maybe something akin to the Genestealer Cult dual build Goliath truck, building a transport and a tank. The Admech also got something similar to that effect with the Scorpius, Dune Rider and Disintegrator a bit further down the line. I feel like if you're starting to build up a full faction, maybe with some slightly limited resources, then a dual build transport and tank model is quite a good way to go, as it covers you two different faction niches just with one model. Next, I believe that we've basically already seen these Exo Armoured Elites choices in one of their artwork previews. You can see the guy down here in the bottom right. As with the Trikes and the Warriors, Exo Armour was basically one of the other main things that squats were known for. I strongly suspect that we'll see this guy stomping around with a 2+ armour save at some point in the future. It seems kind of appropriate for a Space Dwarf faction to have some slow-moving elites choices with massive armour. Finally, one thing that a lot of people have been hoping for is perhaps an AI robot unit. That might be drawing a little bit too much into Games Workshop's teasers. They were kind of hinting that the leagues made use of the Votann supercomputers to direct what they needed to do next, but whether or not that's actually going to be realised on the battlefield as well, with AI soldiers fighting alongside them, is another question entirely. I feel like it would be a really popular move. It would be quite cool to see some dwarves fighting alongside some golem-light automata. Could give the faction a very different feel. Anyway though, seeing a Hover Trike is still pretty big news for the faction. Let me know what you think is going to be coming next down in the comments below. And of course, what do you think of the miniature? Is it a fitting update for the squat trike, or do you prefer something with massive wheels? If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where I'll certainly keep up with Games Workshop's news and releases. I do tend to post new videos just about every day. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the content on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics has a Patreon page as well, and you can find that down in the video description. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things happen next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some really big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, then the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.